Yes, people. Yes, people. Guess what? I got my guy with me, Wax from
What's
Wax
that?
Online. You guys already know my guy's doing his thing, pumping out videos for you guys, pumping out content for you guys, and you guys don't understand how hard it is what this guy does. He's literally doing 3 videos a day sometimes. I'm lucky if I get 1 video out. Today I got 2 videos. I'm lucky, and I'm happy to say I've known this guy from the beginning of the journey. I think you had like 1,000 subscribers when I knew you back then. So it's
Yeah,
like. So it's like I've been a sub from 1,000, so you know what it is, my G. And we got Glenn Knightley's gonna come through, Kesh is gonna come through. We're gonna talk about a little bit about Arsenal. Let me tell you guys what we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna be talking about obviously the Bendia's talks, a lot about this Bendia guy. You know what I mean? Obviously, we're gonna talk about Arteta. Definitely gonna talk about the random stuff about Isco. They're trying to talk about regular stuff that goes around Aubameyang and Eddie Nketiah. But the main topics that we're gonna be discussing today is what's wrong with Willian and Pepe. There's so much things wrong, but we're gonna figure it out.
yeah.
And the academy kids, should they be the ones that are saving us, or should this be a warning sign for the club and the direction that the club's in? That is the main discussion for today. And yeah, so let's get ready, guys. If you haven't already done it, smash a like on the video. If you're watching the playback, smash a like on the video, and let's try to get to at least 100 likes for this video. And yeah, big up to everybody watching. Let's cue that intro. Bang. Okay. So yo, Wax, man. Last time we spoke to you uh, on your channel, you were still contemplating about Arteta, all the stuff, all the Arteta hoopla didn't happen. I want to know, where do you stand with him now, and from everything that's gone down since the beginning of the season to now, where do you lie with Arteta and everything else that's going on? Do you blame it all on him? Do you blame it on the players? Where do you stand on it?
Look, obviously there's been problems at Arsenal for years. We know the problems, but I mean, with Arteta, initially when he came in, I backed him. I was supporting Arteta. I liked Arteta due to the fact he was previously an Arsenal player, due to the fact that he was a leader, and I thought he could bring a different type of attitude, to that dressing room, a different type of motivation, especially being a leader. But I feel like since Mikel Arteta's been in control, we've kind of there's been a lot of ups and downs, but in my opinion, there's been more downs than there's been ups. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like we could today, it's clear for me that it's due to a number of reasons. It's due to the fact that he is inexperienced. And I mean, I don't blame him. He's come in. He wants an opportunity at management, and fortunately for him, he's been given the Arsenal job. And who would say no to the Arsenal job? But if we are to be real and we are to really look at, his skills as an overall manager, they're not adding up for me. They're not adding up. And obviously, when a manager first comes in or when a coach first comes in, you're going to get behind him. You're going to be supportive of that person. But when it starts unraveling and then you start seeing all the holes and all the promises made and, them that not surfacing and the lies that are coming through, I expected more for Arteta. I expected more. And I feel like since he's come in, there has been a decline. I feel like the players have gone backwards. No one has developed. You can't actually put anyone on the table for me now and tell me, yeah, they've actually developed under Mikel Arteta. I mean, he's had 14 months with these players. We have to be real. 14 months is quite a long time. Within that space of time, you'd expect to identify a real style of play, identify patterns of play, identify a system that works for the players. We can see Willian, for example, one of his signings, who's clueless. Why is he clueless? How can Willian, this guy that apparently was this, that, the other, come to Arsenal and all of a sudden he can't play football anymore? And it's not that he can't play football anymore. It's the fact that he doesn't understand what he's meant to be doing. He doesn't understand his role. And that comes from the manager. That comes from the coaches. So it's all these little things, you know. We can clearly see that Mikel Arteta at this point in time, with the current skill set he has, he's not taking us to the Champions League. He's not going to be competing. There might be moments like we're having at the moment. There might be good spells, but it's not good. I just don't believe at this moment in time he's got what it takes to take us to where we, or I, as a fan, expect Arsenal to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I honestly, I disagree with some of the things you're saying, but of course, I wanted to let you finish your point. I don't want to interject. Now, there's one thing that I want to know. You say he lied. I get that he has covered up for the board and he said things to us that are not 100% true, and that is a lie. I'm not going to defend any of his lies. I'm not going to be out here licking bums and telling people that he did something that he didn't do. Yes, he lied. And yes, every manager does have to sometimes lie to the fans. And that, to me, this doesn't sit well with me either. But to me, that is not a sackable offense for me. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's not a sackable offense. I'm putting that out there to say that's the reason why I don't trust him. I don't trust liars. If you're a liar and you're lying to me, why am I going to trust you? So therefore, if you're running my club, how can I trust you in running my club if you already lied to me? That doesn't make any sense. So if you're gonna follow someone and they've already lied to you, you're blind. You're blind. Why would you follow someone that's lied to you? Would you trust someone that stole from you and then lied to you and told you that they never stole from you? Exactly. There we go. So it's the same principle at the end of the day. He's already lied. He's already misled us, and he's already tried to pull the wool over how many fans' eyes. Bearing in mind, we've had the wool pulled over our eyes since 2004, 2005. I've been a fan my whole life, you might as well say. So I've sat here and had to deal with all these problems for many years. I go back into streams recently where I've been saying, look, we were made promises back in 2002, 2003. Yeah, come 2007, everything goes out the window, and all Arsenal care about is the finances. You know, the finances to keep the business going. What about the promises that were made to the fans in regards to making this club great again? Where is it? Where is it? And now we're at a point where we have to suddenly support an inexperienced manager, get behind him and be happy with that process? No, because I've been trying to follow a process since 2004. And that process, all of a sudden, has changed into we need to support this new manager, give him time. What do you mean? We've been given time for our football club to win a league for how long? You know, it goes to show that we clearly don't value the manager. We clearly don't value the players. We clearly don't value the fans. We clearly don't value the league. We don't value the competitions. We don't really value it. We overachieved in the FA Cup. Applause to Mikel Arteta for winning that FA Cup. You know, doing what he can. You know, he had to think of a plan that could salvage our season, and the FA Cup, it worked. So I applaud him for that, and I always said that. But coming into the new season, identifying the plan going forward, it's not working. It's clearly not working. Obviously, now he's coming to some luck. We've had to bring in two youngers who are hungry, and I get that. You know, they're gonna want to push for first team football. They're going to want to demonstrate their worth because they're youngest. The youngest don't care about successful setups. They don't care about a successful team. But if you're looking at the experienced players, tell me which one of them have upped their game. And they're the ones that you've got to count on. If a manager is coming in and he's effective, then the experienced players will be demonstrating their worth. And none of them really are. People might jump onto Lacazette right about now because he's found form within the past couple of games. But what was people saying about him a month ago? There we go.
Listen, as much as you make a lot of points, I disagree on the sense, and let me give you why I disagree. Okay, I feel like the young players, obviously, like Martinelli, Saka, they've improved under him, and maybe it's just their general development as a football player, but they have shown signs that they've improved. In addition to that, some of the players that we thought were dead in
Who did you say he's improved? Sorry.
Obviously, Emma Smith Rowe has come into the team and looked like
Smith Rowe. With all due respect, Smith Rowe was great before Arteta come here. I knew that. Everybody else knew that. Him coming into a team and scoring 1 or 2 goals doesn't mean Arteta's directly developed that guy. Yeah, he's come in. He's shown energy. He's shown a creative intelligence that he already had. So how do you then say that's Arteta's development? That's not.
What about Saka? Saka has clearly changed his way from playing as a deep lining left wing back to now playing out and out on the right wing and for firing. Because under Emery, we were saying he was dead on the right, and now he's looking good.
No, I never ever said he was dead on the right. I mean, maybe other people did, but in my opinion, Saka is still exactly the same player that was playing under Unai Emery. Yeah, he's self-developing because he wants to become a better player himself. Do you understand? He's looking as an individual to grow and develop. It's not. You can get inspiration, but I, in my opinion, don't believe that Mikel Arteta is a direct influence on Saka's development. If that was the case, then where's Pepe? Where's Pepe? Why is Pepe not developing? Tell me about why is WILLAN totally flopped? I don't care. 32-year-olds, he still needs to obviously understand the system. He still needs to be able to adapt to the way we're playing, but he hasn't. Why? So there's no development there. Tell me about the development of any other player. Do you understand? Smith Rowe and Saka inevitably are going to develop because they're 19-year-old kids. Yeah. Tell me, where's Joe Willock's development? Where's Reece Nelson's development? Where are theirs? Where's development? Do you get it? We'll always be quick to point to Saka and Smith Rowe, but prior to Arteta being here, both of those players were good players. So there's no development there for me. They might have self-developed, but Arteta has no indirect involvement in that development.
Okay. What about the fact that he holds people accountable? People who were getting away with murder under Arteta, under Arsene Wenger, people who were getting away with murder under Unai Emery are now being held more accountable. In addition to that, there is times where you'd see that people in the club had no sense of direction. There was nobody who was looking at players and saying this player is not good enough for the club, they need to go, or this player is not good enough and we need to eventually move them on. I generally feel like there is a plan and there's an idea, there's ideal way that he wants to play, but he doesn't have the players to play that way. So we're playing the way we're playing just to get away with what we have. It's almost like wax. If you have a guy who doesn't have money and he has a tracksuit and sweats, that's all he has is clothes, and they tell him to go for an office interview. He needs to go buy that before he can go to the interview. But Arteta's showing up with what he has.
I mean, I get your analogy, but you have to be real, right? It's a very, very poor analogy to use when you've got a group of players. And with all due respect, bro, I don't mean to disrespect.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
But when you've got a group of players that have already been more successful than what we are today, then you can't use that as an analogy. At the end of the day, he's got a group of players. Aubameyang, look at their history. We can break them all down, even including the ones that he's brought to the club. We break their experience down, and you're telling me, oh, all of a sudden they've come to Arsenal, play for an inexperienced manager, none of them can perform. It doesn't make any logical sense to me. That, for me, is a management coaching issue. Like, come on. Do you think if Aubameyang went to Liverpool, he'll have the same problem? No, he'll be banging goals. If WILLAN went back to Chelsea, or let's not even say Chelsea, because they're in the same kind of position as us with an inexperienced manager. But if WILLAN went to another team that was developed, that had players that understood their expectations, that understood how to play football going forward, transitional play from attack to defense, transitional play from defense to attack, they would work. Our players, our team don't have that. There is none of that in their play. There is a lot. In recent games, I'm not going to lie, I've seen improvement on that side of things. But to me, it looks like you are just learning from the mistakes that you're making, right? And obviously, of course, you would as an inexperienced inexperienced manager, and then you're trying to patch it up as you go along. Now, as me representing a club like Arsenal, I don't expect to be dealing with that. I expect for someone that's proven to come in, analyze these players, know what he wants to do with them, and get the best out of them. If you're telling me that, all right, cool, he's got a system that he wants to adopt, but he can't adopt it because he ain't got the right players, then fucking think of a system that works for these players. Don't sit there and keep running with the same engine, knowing that this fuel ain't going to help the fucking engine. Do you know what I mean?
I get that. Do you know why I preach more time and give him more of a leash? Because I'm looking at the situation ever since Arsene Wenger left. What happened? What's been going on at the club? You had 2 chief scouts leave the club. You had 2 CEOs and Ivan Gazidis and Edu leave the club. You have a director of football that has no experience. You have a manager currently in Arteta. Yes, he doesn't have any experience in the field. And you also have a chief scout, that was also gone. Chief negotiator also gone. So the man is set up with no back room or nothing. Everything is being reshuffled around him. So it does hinder his performance.
I get that in a way. I do get that in a way. Obviously, like we said at the top of the stream, the club's got problems, doesn't it? The club's got problems. But if you want to try and fix the problems, you don't do it by bringing an inexperienced manager to add to those problems. That doesn't make any sense. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not going to obviously blame Arteta for every single problem at this club, because we know the problems have been here for years. But in order for this football team to grow or to meet the expectations of the fans, I don't know what everyone else's expectations are, but in order for them to meet my expectations, we need someone that has already dealt with these type of situations. You know, an elite manager that's already gone into a big club and had to deal with board of directors not getting on, unprofessionalism within the board. I mean, there's years of there's history of this at other clubs, but they've still been successful with their management. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, bro, I'm sorry. This comment made me laugh. Jama, say mashallah about his hairline. Don't make jokes about his forehead. Say mashallah, bro. Now, Kesh.
I didn't even see that. What did he say?
Nah, he's saying you have the smallest forehead. But
yeah, cool.
I don't know, bro. Anyways, Kesh, what are you saying?
Nah, man, what you guys saying?
We're talking about Arteta, and obviously Wax was laying out obviously some of his points about Arteta, and honestly, some of these things I can't argue with them. They're factual statements, and I can't disagree with that. But I can still choose to back the manager based on my opinion.
No, of course.
The way he's laid it out, it's very. Honestly, you must be like a salesman or something, because the way you laid it out, even you're trying to turn me right now.
Now, look, at the end of the day, bro, I want Arteta to be successful, bro. Like when I deep it, I was like one of the first guys to get behind him. I remember when he first signed. I'm pretty sure even Sonny's there gassing up in the chat, yeah. But I'm pretty sure even Sonny didn't even want Arteta. You know what I mean? I remember being one of the first people. Some people were like, "Oh, you're delusional. You're this, you're that." And I'm like, "Nah, bro. He's got this, that, the other. I like his character." And even up until now, I still like this guy's character. He has tarnished it a little bit with the way he's carried himself amongst the players and amongst the press and the media. But I've always believed in his character, and his leadership skills could help this club with, could lead this club. Do you know what I mean? That's what I thought. But there's things that are happening that I'm not happy with. I'm sure you guys are not happy with. And it's costing us. We have to think we're halfway through the season, basically, man. Things can turn around. We can still maybe get top 4, but it's just, again, are we consistent with it? That's the most important thing. Are these decisions that are being made that have cost us previously going to pop up again and happen again? All of that. Are we going to be able to get the right players? All of this, there's so many different things that are making me think otherwise. Do you know what I mean? So
I'll tell you this: Sonny did want Arteta at the beginning after we sacked Emery. So I wanted Nuno. I don't know who you guys wanted, but then
Enrique.
You wanted Enrique. Who did you want?
Me?
What? Yeah.
Before Arteta, I was happy with supporting Arteta. There wasn't, going back to when we were being linked with managers, there was Jose Mourinho. I know people might say, "Oh no," but I would have been happier with Jose Mourinho, due to the fact of the experience. But that's my whole point. Do you know what I mean? That's always been my point. I think that even the experienced players that we have right now, someone like a Jose, someone like a Carlos Ancelotti, that was someone else that I wanted. Rafa Benitez, that was someone else that I wanted at that point. But someone like them we wouldn't see Willian and that playing the way they're playing under a Rafa Benitez or under a Carlos Ancelotti. It wouldn't exist. I'm telling you.
I don't think.
Go on.
I don't think a Jose would have allowed a Willian to be signed.
He might not have signed him.
Yeah.
The Willian deal.
I want to sign Willian.
The Willian deal for me it's like,
unproductive.
For me, it seems like something that's forced upon the club. Like, they don't want to spend the money, so they look for the cheap option. They're probably giving them 1 or 2 or 3 options and said, "You pick." And there was all just shit. And he looked at Willian and said, "Rah, okay, Willian's played for Chelsea. He's played in the Prem. Maybe he can come and offer something when the likes of Pepe is not producing, Nelson's not producing." And in a logical sense, it did make sense. It's just that Willian's motivation is not there. Like, he's a player that was coming to the twilight of his career, and when you look at the clubs that was actually in for him, which was at Inter Miami, that for me rings alarm bells. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, well, if you're gonna be cheap, you're always gonna end up with these sort of players. Like, as you see with Runarsson, we paid what we paid for him, and the performance that he produced in the last game, it is what you get for that value.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
for me, it's a
You get what you
combination
pay for.
of Arteta being inexperienced, and I
Yeah.
feel because of his inexperience and the way the club is run, he's then strayed away from a lot of his beliefs. That's what I feel. If it was a stronger manager now, I don't think he would have strayed away from it. But then at the same time, a stronger manager, I do believe someone like Jose Mourinho would have rebelled if this is what the club's trying to
This is
impose on him.
this is the reason why you kind of have to question Mikel Arteta, because you know you've got a system that you want to deploy, right? And you know what type of players you need for that system, right? So why sign Ronison? Why he can't play out from the back? We clearly saw that. Why would you sign that goalkeeper if you want to play out from the back? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why sign Willian?
They signed him. They signed him based on the recommendation of the goalkeeping coach.
It's based on the budget and the cheapness. It's the same thing that happens all the time, and it's the same reason why we ended up with Mikel Arteta, because we don't want to pay the price. When Allegri is giving out his ultimatums on the things that he wants, and the club's saying, "Bro, like we're not really going to give you that," that's the repercussion. You end up with a Mikel Arteta.
There you go. And that makes it even more difficult for us as fans then, because it's like, why would you, if everything's tight, we don't have the finances and so on and so forth, then why are you going to bring in someone that's inexperienced to make the job even more difficult? It just doesn't make any sense. And then here we are again. We go around in circles and circles and circles. There we are. And this is the reason why I'm frustrated. This is the reason why I'll say, you know what, I'd rather just this.
And Wax, this is my reason why I say the buck stops with the owners, because until you get an owner that actually have some sort of self-interest rather than the financial interest, but actually achievement, it's not going to work, because he's all in today's day and age in the Premier League era. You don't. The job basically is the self-run. The finances basically self-run. You know what I mean? Like you're always gonna have that money coming in. So he's not really worried about what's going on the pitch and things like that, because he's still getting his money. And in everyday day in life, a man only cares about his money. It's his business. You know what I mean? He cares about his money. Obviously, I'm sure if Arsenal was to go on and win things, he would appreciate it. But it's not really his priority for me.
Yeah. So next we got Glenn on the over here. Glenn, what's good, bro?
It's good, Glenn.
Hi, man. Hi, Cash. Hi, Wax.
You're right, bro.
Chilling, man.
Yeah.
Just before we get to your thoughts on Arteta and everything, I'm just gonna read this super chat from Shademan393. Personally, I think Arteta isn't a bad manager. He just needs the right support to succeed. He needs an experienced with director of football like Ralph Ragnick or Lewis Campos. You know what? That is a good
Another thing we
show.
have to bear in mind, guys, another thing we have to bear in mind is there is a difference between a manager and a coach. You understand?
Yeah.
A manager needs the management skills. And from my experience, from my perspective, from what I can see, is they're one of the things that Arteta lacks is management. Therefore, his discipline is going to be poor. All of the things that are going to come with it are going to be flawed. And this is the reason why we've got players taking the fucking piss. Yeah.
But for me, I don't know. Maybe it's because I didn't set the season with such high expectations. Like I knew Arteta coming in is going to be a rookie. I looked at it and I thought, okay, so they're not giving me the option that I want, but they're going to go for someone who's a good coach, who they feel that can actually produce over a number of years rather than immediate effect. And for me, I feel yes, he's learning a job, and ideally, you're at Arsenal, you shouldn't be learning a job. But for me, it's probably one of the better solutions if you're not going to bring a manager in that's going to give you immediate rewards and you're going to back him. For me, I feel his man management still is lacking right now, but I do feel it will improve come towards the end of the season. I do feel it's like any job you do. You're not going to know everything straight away. You know what I mean? Like, we have to cut him slack, and it's not exactly his fault why he's there. They looked at him and said, we're going for you. And even when all the turmoil was going on and they were saying he's going to be sacked, I said, they're not going to sack him. They was never going to sack him, because what does that say to the fans? The fact that just says you didn't believe in your manager in the first place. You gave him 2 signings, and one of them hardly played. So it's not exactly a big improvement on the other teams. Like we finished 8th last season, yeah. You adding one signing to it isn't gonna suddenly make us top 4 challengers. Obviously, the performances, that it's more to do with the performances than where we are, in my opinion. Because when you looked at the table, we wasn't far off 8th. It was like 4 points off 8th anyway, so we wasn't far off the trajectory of what we got last season. Obviously, in hindsight now, everyone's looking at it thinking, oh, look at the way the season's going. Like, this could have been a season where if Arsenal were prepared, we could have done better. You can say the same thing about the season that Leicester won it. Arsenal never prepared. We never prepared. And at the end of the day, we've been saying we needed 6 signings, even before Wenger was even gone. We've been saying this for years, that the squad needs to be revitalized and adding fresh faces and people that's got a lot more consistency to their game and determination. This squad, it's like, people think football is just all about talent. It's not all about talent, because with talent, you've got to mix the hard work with it and the motivation. And even when you look at guys like PEPE and things, he's very lackluster. He walks around on the pitch sometimes, and you think, does this guy even really want to be here? Like, does he know that he's actually playing for Arsenal, or he's a professional footballer? He lacks that motivation. So we've got loads of these players, and when you think about it, look at the results. You've got a Smith Rowe and a SAKA coming in and making a big difference. Now, when you look back to the 2 months when we weren't winning, WILLAN and PEPE contributed to that. There's no doubt about it. They contributed to that. And when I was saying, all we need is a number 10 to string things together, because as poor, I don't rate Xhaka, I don't rate Only, but as poor as they are, there's no one to link the midfield to the forward players. There's no one to do it.
Yeah.
And obviously we're saying, oh, yes, you should have a plan B. Yes, in the ideal world, you want a manager to have the plan B, but you don't really see those managers anymore. Those managers are dying breed now. It's only back in the day you had like a Fergie, you could switch it up and things like that. You see Pep Guardiola when he first came in. Fans were saying, I remember the pundit saying, you've got to switch it up. It's not working. He stuck to his guns because that's his belief. That's the way it's been in Barcelona. It's like Coleman right now over in Barcelona. He's trying to install that high intensity type of football, that being on the front foot type of football, and he's got mixed results. But once that's your system, you got to stick with it because that's your belief. If you stray away from your belief, it then becomes a thing where someone can use it to attack against you. Because then you're going to say, well, you don't believe in what you're doing. So if the results still don't come, then you deserve to be sacked. At the end of the day, you bring in a rookie manager, you should have given him the best platform to help him. And we did not give him the best platform. We're now fighting to get rid of players who, for instance...
one second, Cash. Let me get Glenn in here, because Glenn hasn't said a word yet. Now, Glenn, what's your thoughts on Arteta? If you, are you... I'm not saying in or out, because in or out is kind of like... It's very argumentative. What do you think about everything that's gone on so far?
Yeah, I was also kind of the same. Like, I wasn't like in or out, because if I say in after we lose 8 games, it just looks like I've settled for mediocrity. And when I'm out, it just seems like I just want him out immediately, which I don't want. For me, I lean more to the left side. I want him to stay, mainly because of like 3-4 reasons. Before WILLAN signed for Arsenal, he said he signed for Arsenal because of what Arteta said to him. There was that, of course, there was his business and stuff, forget about that. But that point, he did say he signed for Arsenal because of Arteta. When Aubameyang stayed, he talked about the legacy, and he talked about staying because of what Arteta told him. There was also one player, I think it was Saka and Martinelli, the youngsters, both of them said it was because they also like Arteta. So there's definitely something that he has in him to attract those players. I mean, even though you think WILLAN is a bad player or whatever, there's something he has to attract those players, which is very, very good. Another thing is, who were we going to bring anyway? If Saka started today, you know who they would have brought? Saka from the under-23s. They wouldn't have brought Allegri. They wouldn't have brought any Pochettinos of this world. They would have brought an under-23 manager who's even more inexperienced than Arteta. So Arteta or Saka, I'd rather have Arteta who's been an assistant coach somewhere else other than Saka, who's never been a coach or assistant coach anywhere else. And also, as much as people say it's not a hard, I had Wax earlier on saying it was a fluke winning the FA Cup, but either way, I still believe it bought him some time, whether we like it or not. Because if he hadn't won that FA Cup, he'd have been out now. So it's actually it actually bought him some time, which I agree with, because it was not easy winning that trophy. Those kind of players, especially last season, Sheffield away was tough, Chelsea was tough, City was tough. So we didn't win that game. Okay, we might have won it, maybe the final, but the semi-final, there's no time at that game where I felt City were like peppering us and about to score 3 or 4 goals, and that was because of Arteta's tactics in those games. That is why he won that FA Cup. So for that, I wanted to give him time. You're about to say something, Max?
No, I was actually agreeing with your point. Obviously, him winning the FA Cup has definitely bought him more time, and I think he thought of a plan and it worked in that moment. One of the reasons it worked is because we kind of went defensive after the restart. No one expected us to play defensive, so I think we kind of threw off other teams with the way we went out to play, and I think certain decisions just went in our favour in some of those games as well, and that led us to winning the FA Cup. But you come into the restart. I mean, into the new season. He's deployed the same type of formation, the same identity. Teams have had enough time to understand what Arsenal were trying to do now, and they nullified those. They nullified us. They shut us. They shut us down, put us to sleep, and now it's made it more difficult for Arteta because he's now had to start getting on the whiteboard and thinking of ideas to get us out of these problems, which is difficult, but the positive is that we're winning. We won our past couple of games. We've seen our real gems, like our real homegrown Arsenal players through and through come through and make a difference for us, and that's what makes us proud at this moment in time, keeps us moving positively forward. But I'm just worried about the consistency. I'm worried about the decisions that are being made on and off the pitch. Do you know what I mean? And I think
can I say something though? Because obviously I see a lot of people say it's not that they don't like Arteta, it's just that they don't think he's good enough. But the same thing was said about Emery, and we then, once Emery left, we then actually acknowledged that maybe it wasn't Emery.
Yeah.
So why can the same thing not apply for Arteta? Because if you think about it, Emery was a good coach. We just didn't give him what he needs, and a manager is going to die by that. It's his team selection that kills him.
Yeah.
So if you give the manager the players he wants, then at least you can know, plain and simple, black and white, it's your fault because you've got the players that you asked for. But if you ain't giving the player that he asked for and he's having to just do inshallah and vibes with the players he's got,
Exactly.
It's a hard one.
I always said that though. If we go back last year, maybe March, April, even lockdown times, coming out of lockdown in the restart, I said, look, if they want Arteta to be successful, they need to financially back him. They need to do what they've done with Frank Lampard. I know they don't want to do it because of the business model and all of that, but you need to throw the business model out the window, and you need to start again and then bring the business model, bring that identity back in 2-3 years time. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. You know that you can do it because we've already been doing it for years, but now it's just time to break the bank and make things happen. Especially in the position that we're in, an experienced manager, an experienced board. That's all they can do. But I don't know about you, but I don't believe this thing of if you add 2 signings there, then add 2 signings. That does not work because you're constantly going to be playing catch up to every other team that's improving. You know what I mean? That's why Chelsea had to do it the way they done it. Because if you just add 2, then the following window, Man United, City's going to add more as well. So you're constantly playing catch up. You just got to do it in one go, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this now. On the title, you can see one section, you see Willian and Pepe. On the other side, you see the young kids, Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe, outperforming their seniors. Now, some people would tell you this is a bad thing in the sense that we're paying these guys so much money and they're getting outperformed by kids. And some people would say this is great because now it gives us an easy segue to go to the youth and get these older guys out the door. Which way do you see it? That's what I want to ask you guys. Because do you see it more as a problem with Willian and Pepe, or do you see it more as a solution with Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe? Or could it be a little bit of both?
It is a little bit of both. I mean, the problem kind of is like you've got experienced players if you look at the individuals, they've all won stuff. They've all been at successful clubs. They've all been a part of successful setups. They've all been with successful managers, right? So for them not to be playing to a certain level anymore, you got to kind of ask questions of the manager. Why are these experienced players not playing up to the level? Because what do you say? What do you say the solution is going to be? Get rid of every single experienced player and rely on under 23s? Do you understand? If he can't, one question I've got to say is if he can't get nothing out of the experienced players that he already has, what makes you think he's going to get anything out of any other experienced player around the world? You could give Mikel Arteta flipping Manchester City and there'll still be the same problem. Why? Because it's down to the man management, it's down to what's being taught, it's down to the mentality and the confidence that are being given. That's what it's down to. It's not down to each individual player's skills, because we can clearly see that each individual player is one elsewhere, you know. So it's clearly down to the manager and the way it's being organised, the expectation, the vision that's being put out there, the confidence, all of that. That's what it boils down to, and that's why you're not getting nothing out of the experienced players. You have to bear in mind, and as Kesh would know, because I know he plays ball. When you're younger and you're trying to break a first team, you don't give a fuck what the manager says, who the manager is, what the manager's done. All you care about is breaking into that first team. So any given opportunity that you're given, you're gonna demonstrate your worth. You're gonna show your hunger. Whether Aubameyang, this man and that man's not playing well, I'm gonna show my worth. Do you understand? Because I'm 19, I'm 20. I want to play for England. I want to play for Arsenal first team. But
I agree.
Do you know
I agree with you. But then, if that is the case, and senior players or not really trying to get on board, then for me, they're not the one for this club. I generally don't feel they're the one for this club.
No,
like,
the question is, if he can't get, it's not them getting on board. It's not them getting on board because Willian wasn't an Arsenal player before he joined us, was he? He was a Chelsea player. So what my point is if Arteta can't, as a manager, can't get nothing out of the experienced players he already has, what makes you think that any other experienced player around the world is going to come in at Arsenal and do a better job?
I don't believe in that though, because listen, and like, obviously I can understand the likes of guys who are not pros and just coming from the youth academy, but then you got the likes of Tierney who's turning up. Tierney's a senior pro. Tierney's been playing for years in Celtic when he was like 16, 17. So I'm not really gonna fall on the thing.
The only thing is, we can label Tierney, right? We can label Tierney as the only player right now. Yeah.
Leno, like there's, I don't know, man.
Leno's taken a lot of stick recently. He's taken so much stick.
He's been good.
He's been good though. He's taking stick, but that's the reason why they're taking stick though, because of the Martinelli. You got fans who wanted Martin, and you got Leno. That's why he's taking stick.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
Yeah.
But
Glenn,
Willian,
jump in whenever you're ready.
Willian for me is not. Hold on, let me just finish this. Willian for me, as I keep saying, look at the teams that was trying to go for him. Like he wasn't going to be part of Chelsea's first team. He was going to be a squad player at best. And when you've got two players that's not performing in the same position, it then becomes a thing where is it the manager or these players are just not the right? Like Arsenal, for me, Arsenal don't do their due diligence before signing players. They don't check on what a player's motivation is. A player like Pepe, he doesn't perform like he wants to be at Arsenal or perform like a professional. And if you're seeing better performance from a guy like Martinelli, for instance, who's been out for how many months, comes back and play exceptional for this first game. That for me is something to do with the player's mental. That's his mental for me.
Yeah. No,
I try to see it as more of a solution than a problem, because if you see it as a problem, you're going to get mad. Willian and PEPE, every time you've just brought up their name and I felt sick immediately. For me, I think like 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, when people are starting to say we should play PEPE instead of Willian, why is Willian playing? I was like, I actually don't care who's playing because I think they're on the same level right now. I'm sorry. Both of them really annoy me. One is frustrating, the other one is annoying, fine. But both of them for me on the same level. That was 3 weeks ago. Maybe against Newcastle the other day, maybe PEPE did put in a couple of crosses, but he was even more frustrating. Can't shoot on target on his left side every single time. So I was hoping, when he played City in the Carabao Cup, I was hoping these players had seen the likes of Martinelli and Saka upping their game, and they would get that confidence without having to depend on Arteta or the fans to mention it to them. I was hoping they'd get that confidence for themselves and say, you know what, these players are playing well. We also need to up our game, or we are out in January. We also need to up their game, which they didn't. How many times are these guys going to frustrate us? The other day, Willian got a chance. I'm more confident Willian, and that brings me to the next point. I'm more confident Willian gets to the casting to the right and shoots the ball. I mean, he got double figures in terms of goals and assists last season. You can't tell me in the space of 3 months it's just all of a sudden become totally useless. And then everything, another thing I always hear is PEPE is a confidence player, Willian is a confidence player. Torreira was a confidence player. Leno is how many of these confidence players do we have? Do we have to wait for people to get confident to perform? As Wax has said, you need to perform for yourself. You have a family at home, perform for yourself. You have teammates, perform for them. Make yourself happy. You don't have to. We have to wait for you to become a confident player. There's no time for that, man. So I think we have too many of those, and that is why we go ahead and.
What about people who blame the players' performances on the mentality of the fans? Do you guys? Because I get this all the time, and it bothers me. It actually pisses me off when people say our mentalities as fans affects the players' performance, or affects their urgency to win, or affects the club's urgency to win. Can someone explain this to me? Because to me, it's almost disillusioned by saying, "Oh, because we are accepting this, they're just going to continue it as this way." No one's accepting it. It's just, I almost feel powerless at this point. That's what it is.
For me, if anything, it should be affecting the younger players than the experienced players. This guy's at 33, 32. It should be affecting Smith Rowe. The other day, when Smith Rowe got that red card, you could see how gutted he was, and I was gutted for him because he could already see he was thinking what happens in the next game, what are the fans going to say. I was right for him because I've seen how quickly people have turned on Aubameyang, and also there's a time Pepe got a red card, and the next week Xhaka got a red card, and people are like, why didn't he say this about Xhaka the way he said about Pepe? I was right. People would say the same about Smith Rowe. Why are you putting young players all the time? He cost us this game, the FA Cup. I wouldn't be surprised if people turned on him. So it should be affecting the smaller players.
Go, Wax. What were you going to say?
If he probably would have got sent off, people would have turned on him. There would have been a bunch of people that would have said, nah, he's young, but there would have been people that would have said, he cost us the game if we would have lost.
And that's what I mean about our fan base.
That's why I'm not worried about the whole Saliba thing.
That's why I'm not worried about it, because the same fans are saying, yes, obviously, I believe he should have played. I do believe he should play, but that's because I want to give young players a chance. But whatever the man just seen, I can only take his word for it. Yes, everyone's saying he's better than Oden and that. That's because he's got high ceiling. But if Saliba had come in and put in stinkers, you know what would have happened, because fans are so hypocritical. They would have just said, no, the manager put him in. He knew he wasn't ready. He should have been in the club, in the team. The player himself said he wasn't ready physically. People think, when you say physically, he's not talking about fitness. He's talking about being up to speed of the Premier League, things like that. You don't get that from playing 6 games in Europa League. You don't get that from playing 6 months in the league. That comes in a build-up of a course of a few months to get that. Right, so you play football, you know what he's talking about. If you're not physically fit and we free him in, I can only imagine the toxicity from the fans. I can only imagine.
Absolutely, man. It's true.
There's no player that wants to be abused on Instagram or Twitter, family-wise and stuff. I hate that. I don't want anyone to go abuse Shaka's daughter or anything like that. But you're supposed to have a bit of shield in you. That's why sometimes I kind of like Mustafi. Mustafi gets abused, but he does not care what any of us say. You always see his face and he's in his sweet. He does not care what any of us say.
That used to trigger
but the likes of Shaka, every little thing someone says, it triggers them. It goes on interviews, mentions them here and there indirectly.
Yeah,
that's what I don't like. It should be affecting the smaller players.
His caption the other day about I can't remember what it was, but he captioned after the game, Chelsea game, he scored a free kick. I was just thinking, bro,
actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, I'm thinking, bro, action speaks louder than words. Bro, you got a small sample of one game where you've done something. It's not like you've gone 6 months where you're performing out your skin, where I can say, maybe he's coming along. Bro, you've been playing inconsistent for the last few years you've been at Arsenal. Since you arrived at Arsenal, there's no action speaks louder than words. Just keep your head down, shut your mouth, and put in some performances. Yeah, guys, that's the way it should be.
As bad as this season has been, we can still salvage this season. The season's not a write-off. You know how a couple weeks ago we were saying relegation battle, this and that, people talking shit? We're 5 points off of getting back into the top 4 race. I know that.
It's silly.
I know that. People are gonna say it for banter, but when we talk real talks right now, we're closer to get back into that top 4 race than we are to go down further. We just need to go into this January window and fix the problems that we have. So
it's too soon to say that. It's too soon to say that.
No. But I was getting to the transfer window. Do you guys think we're going to do anything this transfer window? Because this transfer window is crucial. I want to spend the last part of the video on the transfer window. This transfer window is crucial because this lays the groundwork for what we're going to do in the summer. If we can get rid of enough people, we can bring in better people in the summer. If we can get somebody good in this summer, it will save us. But if we get Isco or Julian Brandt or anyone's just trying to get rid of, we're gonna fuck ourselves over because we're gonna have more.
Back again. That's
what we are. That's what we're doing at the moment, where they are targeting fringe players, players that nobody wants. You know, we've been doing it for a little while now, man. I see that WILLAN, they were all the same type of signing.
You know what I'll say though, like as long as we're not bringing these players in on a permanent, I think it's the right move. Like you see what Bayern does. Bayern will loan a player knowing they've got no intention of signing them. Arsenal need to start being, shrewd in the market. Okay, we know there's going to be better options in the summer. Yeah, we'll take him for 6 months. You come in, you add some competition for Smith Rowe. Rather than going and overspending on a player who's not going to be the catalyst of this team. Like, Arsenal should be targeting a number 10 who's going to be like a Bruno, for instance. And I keep saying it, next season, if Man United do not go in for Grealish, we've got to show us that we've got some minerals about us and go and put in a big offer for Grealish. But if no one's going to take him, then it's open seas for him. Like, go and take him. He's got to go.
Yeah. TBG's in the house, my guy. Big up to him. And
I think Jack will be inspired to join us, man.
He would love it, but the thing is, let's be honest. We heard Arsenal got a £120 million loan from the government. You guys know what that's for. That's to pay off Ozil. That's to pay off some of these guys like Socrates and help that over the line. It's not really to go into a transfer window and get Bendia. Because if we wanted to,
that money is just there to cover over the losses that Arsenal have taken this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, Arsenal have lost quite a lot of money, like 144 million, 150 million. So that loan was just to cover that loss.
Yeah.
But aren't we going to pay it back by the end of the year?
May.
They expect that, but then you got to think like, I mean, with the way things are going at the moment, it could be difficult. Who are they relying on paying it back? You know, us fans or who's?
I don't think the bank will mind because that's just interest for them. I think obviously they just put a set date on it, but ideally they would like for Arsenal to pay it back in May. You know what I mean?
Oh, so it's like a credit card loan, basically. You're gonna have a set amount of interest that you're gonna have. Now, Glenn.
I hope they paid.
Glenn, so we basically spoke about targets. Is there any specific targets that interest you that you think we can get in this January window that could help us? And I don't want to hear about Guendouzi, guys. Guendouzi can stay in Germany. Let's focus on people we can bring in that actually would matter.
I think we need a backup goalkeeper. I don't know where we're going to get one from because I don't think Leno will play every single game. We have so many competitions. If we have plans to stay in the FA Cup until the end and the Europa League until the end, we need to get a goalkeeper seriously. I don't know where we'll get a second choice goalkeeper, honestly. And then, I think Niles can help Tierney out on that side. Of course, we need a creative midfielder somewhere. Although the other day I was trying to do like a video for how Arsenal could line up with Buendia, and I actually kind of didn't get a spot for him in the team because I think the likes of Smith Rowe and Saka have kind of taken that burden away from us, and they've kind of won their positions in that team. So if you're having the likes of PEPE and WILLAN, because either way, WILLAN and PEPE will have to play. We have so many games we'll have to play anyway. I don't care even if it's the last 20 minutes after we are 6-0 ahead of Benfica and on aggregate and we are very sure we've won the game, then you can bring them in. But you need a creative midfielder either way someone to come support the likes of Saka and Smith Rowe in terms of experience. So maybe Buendia obviously has been talked about. I don't know much about that Brandt guy. So I just go for Buendia because I've seen him.
The man has played and gotten 2 goal contributions the whole season in the Champions League, in the league combined. And he's played over 20 games.
The thing is, I wouldn't look too much into that because you have to understand the manager they had. Sometimes a player is not part of a manager's plan. Like Brent was, Klopp wanted him, for instance. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the signs that Klopp's made, yes, you've got the Minamino in that and the Keita that didn't really work out. But Keita is a good player. Like Klopp knows how to spot a talent. If you actually watch his game and you watch the way he's always passing forward, it would suit what Arteta is trying to do. I know we're looking and we're saying, oh, he's not got much outputs, but there's a reason for that. He's not playing much and he's coming on in the last few minutes of the games and things like that. So you're not really going to get much output. But in terms of someone just to come in on a loan and cover, I ain't got a problem with that. I'd rather do that rather than sign someone who's probably not going to be a focal point and just come in and be a squad player. Arsenal don't need any more squad players. Arsenal need to
we
be
need
focusing on building a strong 11.
Yeah.
With these guys, squad players, when Klopp came in and built his squad, he didn't worry about his bench. He was focused on building a strong 11. Once you got a strong 11, then you can move forward and then you can start adding to the squad depth. Like you saw what he done with Shaqiri and the likes of Origi. But your main 11 is what's important. That's what wins you games.
That's true.
Guys, right now I want you guys, if you guys can see the title, there's a hyperlink for Glenn's channel and Wax's channel. If you guys haven't already subscribed to the channels, I don't know what you're doing. You're wasting your time. You need to subscribe to the channels. You don't have to actually leave the video. You can do it while you're actually watching the video. So go do that right now when you guys got a chance. Wax always got videos daily. Glenn always got some videos and some shorts. Those are amazing. And you know why? And you know my channel. You already know. I'm doing the watch alongs and the regular things too. So support all of us. Help the Arsenal community grow. And you know what? The last 10 minutes, I just want to ask you guys one simple question. Where can we finish this season? Because it looks like it's going to be a madness. It's going to be crazy. We could be, this could be a whole podcast. I'm not going to ask you what's going to happen in the next couple games. I'm not going to ask you what's going to happen in the League Cup, FA Cup, Europa League. I just want to know, in the league, can you see us salvaging the season? Or do you see it being similar to the season before where we finished 8th or even worse? I'll start with you, Wax.
To be honest, fam, I think it's a top 10. It's a top 10 for us. You know, we could potentially get Europa League, but there's so many quality teams in the Premier League at the moment. It's so unpredictable. I was saying this the other day. You never know what's going to happen. You know, you never know what's going to happen, especially with the Leicesters and the Aston Villas and the Leeds and the Wolves and West Ham. These teams they're not playing about these days. But I think I'm going to give it a top 10, man. Be realistic, top 10. That's all we can kind of hope for this season, man.
Yeah, Glenn.
3 wins in a row, 20 more, and you're winning the league. I mean, that's all you need to do. So for me, I'd probably say, I don't know, because I hope we keep this form going. Because if we keep this form going and the teams are so close to each other, it's so hard, man. But I'll just say 6th. I'll just say call a Europa League qualification because we are doing good and just 2 more wins and you're like in top 7 and stuff. So I'm hoping we keep that going. So I'd say 6th.
6th. Okay. Kesh, are you going to go with a similar prediction to what you predicted at the beginning of the season, or have you downgraded it?
It has to be downgraded. It has to be. I just don't see us. I think we'll go on a bit of a run, probably another 2 wins or something, hopefully. But I don't feel we're going to be consistent throughout the rest of the season. I feel we will finish same as last season, probably 8th.
8th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to come out here and say we're going to finish 4th because that's ridiculous. I genuinely feel like right now I'm going to take it game by game. And from what I've seen so far this season, the best I can hope for is 6th, because I don't think we can break that top 4. I don't think we have the consistency in us to go a run of games and win games. And you know what? The worst thing is we played down to our competition. For the first 10 minutes of that West Brom game, we didn't break them down. You thought it was going to be a draw. The moment the goal started going in, the floodgates opened, the pressure's off them. When there's no pressure, they play well. When there's pressure, they don't play well. And that is the biggest problem we've always had. We just don't have big game players. We don't have guys who take the game by the scruff of the neck. Besides Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe, apparently. But even them, they're inconsistent because they're used. We're not going to trust them every single game. But yeah, we're coming close to the end of the video, guys. Is there anything that you guys wanted to talk about? Like any crazy stories that you heard recently? Because to me, Rob Holding getting a contract is not something for people to get vexed about. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something to get vexed about, of course not. But I don't think he deserves. He's got 2.5 years left on his contract. I mean, it doesn't make sense for us to give him another contract. What do we do? Extend it by a year just to give him a bit more money? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. I think with Rob Holding, a bit more consistency. I like Rob. You know what? I've never had anything against Rob Holding. The moment Arsene Wenger signed him, I kind of believed in Arsene Wenger signings. But when he signed those cheap guys, he signed them for a reason. Do you know what I mean? And we've seen it in players. We've seen it in a number of players, even Mohamed El Nene at times. But he just needs a bit more encouragement. But Rob Holding, I like him, and I think a bit more consistency, a bit more time, he could be, he could be a good centre back, and that's when I would have offered him a contract. Let him fight for it a bit more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then I'll throw this to you, Glenn. Socrates, do you think he's going to get out the door anytime soon? Because it's starting to get ridiculous.
Oh, he better leave right now. I mean, I what damages me a lot is the fact that I was really excited when he signed him, but then you start thinking about why did Dortmund sell him and all this. But yeah, he needs to go soon. He needs to be the next one. And after him, I actually think Chambers should be the next. I know some people love Chambers, but I think it's too slow for Arsenal. He can't play unless we try him as a midfielder, like Fulham did, but not as a defender. And then he needs to be followed by, okay, we have like 4 players who need to leave, and then Holding is like the 5th one, unfortunately. When other players are on level 1, it's not that hard to be on level 2. That's why we actually think he's good. That's good.
I don't know about you guys, yeah, but everyone needs to stop the Reece Nelson could improve train. Like, he's a player who had talent at a point, but I feel at this level, being at Arsenal and being a team trying to finish in Europe, in the Champions League and everything, I don't think he's got it in him. Like, if you watch the game against Newcastle, he's dribbling, and that's meant to be one of his best traits as well, and he just kept falling over.
Yeah, he's a liability, isn't he, man? And it's even with his injuries as well, he's a liability. You can't have someone like that in the team.
Can't have someone like that in the team.
Loan out Willock too, because Willock's the one player who hasn't
Willock needs to loan out. Willock needs to be loaned out. And the reason why I say that is, if you watched him yesterday, he doesn't. As I said, I said it before. You can't play Willock in a double pivot. You can't, especially not with a El Neni. There's lack of ideas that come from them. And when you watch Willock, before he receives a pass, he hasn't thought about his next move. He's always taking 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch before he looks up. Yeah. And that for me shows a player that just hasn't been played enough senior games. He needs to go out alone. He needs to go and learn his trade. He hasn't learned his trade. Like in the under 21 football, you can get away with doing all them touches. Yeah. You saw with Nelson with that shot when he in the box, when he took a touch when really and truly he should have shot. In the under 23s football, you can get away with that because he's not going to get closed down that quickly.
Anyways, I was gonna ask you guys the next thing: is there a case for Aubameyang to be dropped until he gets his form back, or do you guys can persist with him? Because Lacazette right now, he's the most on-form striker that we have at the club, one of the most on-form players in the Premier League, and we do have options. So letting Aubameyang sit on the bench is not necessarily a bad thing right now.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
It's not a bad thing, but I don't know, man. I really don't know. I'm just surprised in why Aubameyang's not. Like, come on. It's like he signed his deal and it's just been a total disaster ever since. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? I think he's in a stage where he's having to try to adapt his game. I keep saying it. He's lost a lot of his pace over the last 4 or 5 months before this even started. When I used to see that, there's a times where Tierney's playing the ball down the line for him. A few years ago, Aubameyang's pace, he's gone. I'm seeing defenders keep up with him now. Yeah. He hasn't got that pace anymore, and that was a lot of benefit to him. So now he's trying to adapt his game. If you actually notice, he's playing a lot more passes nowadays. If you check the statistics, he's playing a lot more passes and he's taking a lot more touches. So that's a player for me who's trying to adapt his game.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's about him. Maybe that's why him, WILLAN, PEPE, all these players are just not the players they were. It's because they're adapting to somebody that they're not. They're trying to beat someone that they're not. And this is again down to Mikel Arteta. He's not utilizing these players for their strengths. What made Arsene Wenger such a great manager is he could utilize a player for his strength. He could get a shambolic right back like Bellerin and make one of the best right backs in Europe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There we go.
That's true.
He needed that goal. I'd say he needed that goal. When you've not gotten a goal, you try to be too careful with the way you're finishing and stuff, and you could see it. He never tries those curling right footers and stuff. He tried to be too careful. So when he's got that goal now, I think he's going to start scoring goals.
Yeah, so that's bringing us to the end, guys. But Wax, Glenn, if you guys got anything coming up the next couple of days, let them know so they can come check it out. Wax, you got anything planned?
Just doing a Gooner gossip every single day, man, keeping you guys up to date with the stories being published about Arsenal. to this guy and follow me, Wax Online. Keep nothing but love, man.
There you go.
Anyone who's interested in Fantasy Premier League, I'll be doing a show in like an hour. So yeah.
There you go, guys. Go check it out. Your Fantasy Premier League team. It might be time for you to play your free hits. And yes, we're out of here, baby. And Cash, tell the people where they can catch you, dog.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. It's not that anymore. It's _Kesh_.
There you go. Enough said, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, like the damn video, and if you're watching up till now, you better subscribe to the Mendum. Anyways, we're out of here, people. Later.